Hello everyone, hope you're all well. Welcome back to the channel. First off, apologies, it's been a bit of time since I've done a video. Just a lot of things going on at the moment, and not a massive amount going on in the workshop, unfortunately, although we are now starting to make some progress on different things. So today's video will be mainly about just catching up where I've got to working on the Manor. I've done some work to the 9F as well. We actually got a running day out. So what is it now? March 2025. So we went out, I think it was early February 2025, just for like a shakedown winter test. That all went really well. And we're getting ready for a big event out to another railway, which I won't say too much about now, but you'll see some videos hopefully from that. So really looking forward to that. Yeah, so without further ado, we'll get around and have a look at what's going on. Right, okay, so we'll get started with where we are. So we're just going to take you through with the Manor first. We'll start with one of the drawings and just try and explain where we've got to so far. I'll take you onto the bench, show you all the components and things that I've been making, and then we can sort of look at it physically. But the first off, just to explain, for some who probably don't know the ins and outs of Great Western Railway motion, got a useful sort of drawing here. So this is part of the Penrose Grange suite of drawings. It's out of my sort of Bible for all this stuff. There's a Penrose Grange one, I think, and there's a Torquay Manor one as well. The motion on mine, the inside motion, is Penrose Grange, and it's kind of a bit of a mix of a hybrid, and it's mainly to do with these here, the cylinders that we'll take you to and have a look at physically. But really, I'll just bring this in a little bit. What I've mainly been working on is things like the rods off the eccentric straps, so here and here, assembling this the sort of way shaft, the drop link, the expansion link, and then obviously these here. Now I've run into a bit of a problem. I'll just show you on this drawing here. If you can see this sort of bearing assembly here, your motion's driven off your eccentrics through the rods, through the expansion link. It drives this valve rod internally, and then it comes up to here, and it's got this lever mechanism to basically swap the motion over from inside to outside to enter where the piston valve is here. I've got the cylinders mounted temporarily and have a look at those, but I've got a problem with this bearing here. If I just take you over to the main drawing, and then we'll have a look at that. Right, here we are. So there's this boiler support casting, is what it says. This is the main drawing. You've got the frame one side and the other. You've got 6 holes, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then this nice sort of shaped, it's casting of some kind. And these 3 holes here and these 3 holes here are what mounts the bearing shaft I was talking about to the loco. Now we'll just have a quick look at those bearing shaft drawings as well, and then we'll go and actually have a look at the actual thing. Right, should be able to see this okay. So you've got side-on view, and you can see there's a 30-degree angle here. This bearing, that's where it's sort of the shaft sits, and this is an end-on view. This is what mounts to the frame off the other casting, and again I'll show you all this when I pull the bits out in front of you on the desk, on the bench. And this is the kind of assembly what it looks like here. So you've got the input rod, actually this would be the output rod, inside lever, sorry, then outside lever, and it basically just rocks. Now if I just go back to, here it is on this sheet, so just move you around onto here. There we go. So essentially we've had to do some correction work on here, but these also need correcting. So we've got correct positions measured, components remade to the right, so they're all exactly the same. Like these rods are all slightly different on the original build. These were slightly different on the original build. These suspension levers are also different along with the lifting link. We've managed to get the way shaft correctly set up for now, and again I'll show you all on the actual engine. We had 2 different size valve rods, which didn't help, and again we're making new ones. I'll show you those. Got some pictures of us silver soldering together. I'll show you the components, how it goes together. And then these inside rocking levers to the outside rocking levers and the bearings they sit on. They're all over the place, which just, yeah, fine, happens. It's just one of those things. So, but I've got to kind of think of a way to correct them. What I'd really like to do is have them both together, mounted on either a plate and just basically machine them clear, put the basically put the bearing surface back in so that they're both exactly the same, and then mount them, and then essentially they don't have a bar that goes through them, but you should be able to put a bar through them and it should rotate freely and it should be supported. How we get there, I'm still thinking. It looks like I'll have to machine them individually, which isn't ideal, but if I can get the setup right, it shouldn't be too bad. But we'll go and have a look at what we've made and where we're getting to and sort of explain it. But this is the diagram we're kind of working to. These are the components mainly at the moment, and until we get to this point here where we can basically build up all the inside motion and get to this inside rocking lever ready to go onto the outside, we can't get the cylinders, which was the main thing we really wanted to do. I really want to get the cylinders on and mounted. I've temporarily mounted them for now. They seem okay, but until we get to the stage where I'm happy with the inside motion, I think we'll just have to keep them sort of temporary. Anyway, let's go and have a look at the desk, at the bench and the engine, and I'll show you what I've been up to. Right, hopefully you can see. We'll start like this anyway. Not the best position in the world, but I'll show you some stuff. So we've got the front and rear wheel sets in. A lot of the things sort of concentrated on has been making some of the components. So, as I said, we've got the expansion links. Again, I'll show you my jig. So, expansion links, eccentric straps. There you go, Gary, well done. And their rods. And as you can probably see, in brazing. There's quite a good sort of instruction pamphlet on these. So these are from Model Engineer's Laser. Keep it steady, Gary, if you can. And what you do is you chop off. There's like a sprue at the back. You chop it off, and basically you go from there. Right, we're on the bench. Not the best position, but I'll just sort of give you an overview, and then we can look at some of the bits I've been doing in detail. So we've got chassis setup. As you can see, I've got the leading and trailing axle sets, driving wheels in. I've got one of the cylinders mounted. The other one's on the other side. Again, as I said before, only temporary. We've been mainly focusing on working out on the inside motion. I've done a lot of work sort of repairing bits and pieces, and again I'll get it in the hands and we can have a wander around. But one of the main problems I've come across, just temporarily pop this in around about where it goes, there she is this boiler support casting. So that sits there. Then you've got these two bearing blocks, one there, and on first sort of viewing they didn't seem too bad. So these would mount basically 3 bolts each. They go on there. This is what transfers the inside motion drive, which is the little lever. You just about see it there, but we'll come in a bit closer in a minute, through these blocks. Just get them right way around. What's that one? Right hand, left hand. Through a shaft through these blocks, and then basically either side, and then these is what come into the piston valves there. So the rod will come off here, off a rocking arm, and into there, and that's what regulates your steam flows in and out. So if they're wrong, or if they're off, or whatever, you're going to have discrepancies between the two sides of the locomotive. So you've basically got one steam engine this side and another steam engine the other side, and they have to work together. And we don't want them sort of too much discrepancy, or any discrepancy if we can get away with it. So they need to be corrected. What I'll do now is I'll bring you in and you can start having a look at actually some of the work I've done. Right, we'll go for this then. So that's the main driving axle with the eccentrics on. That I've kept it out just simply because I've come across here, been working on the way shaft and the expansion links. You've also got the support links there. You can just see it moving, hopefully from my fat fingers as we point it. There you go. And then on this side you've got the drop links, and then you've got the expansions as well. If I just pull this up, for example, you should be able to just see those. Sorry, there you go. So I've just mounted all these in. Had a bit of a playing around with the way shaft, just because we had a lot of interference. I mean, there's loads of pins in here that need changing, but for now they do the job. But you see the expansion links there. This did have rollers on it for the die blocks. Just pull that in there, and you can just see it. If I just get the pointer in there, look, it's got little bronze rollers on it. And you can also, if I just tilt it that way, you can actually see how it works. You've got like this, which rocks on. So you'd have your, to come back a little bit, have your driving axle through here, there. Your eccentric straps, obviously from the axle, the rods, and the rods will fit back onto, there's a point there, you can just see, bit of an awkward thing there. Let's see if we can get you in, just there. And they go through the hole there. So yeah, so the main aim is to just keep sort of building this up. I've had a couple of issues, I had to come back. The new bearings are all in and on. So these way shaft bearings here and here are a bit of an issue before. Managed to sort those out. And I've got the temporary sort of valve rod in position, but we'll talk about more of that now. There you go, just come back out. So the eccentrics and the eccentric rods. When I first got the engine, that obviously had issues clearance wise, and I can see why. It gets complicated in there pretty quickly. It's dead easy to sort of just slightly machine something wrong or just make something slightly too long, too short, and you get issues. So what I've got is, these are from Model Engineer's laser. I'll put it down so you don't have to deal with my shaking, just so you know what they are. And basically I've brazed the ends on to give you the profile you need. So if you like, your fork end is going to be in here and in here. The holes are already drilled through. I've just got the machining to do now, and obviously tidying up with files. And then the next job, using this jig, you can see the line. Let me move around. There's a line marked on here, just there. And there's a pop hole there that I need to put a pin in. And that's what we're aiming for. So each one of these, the eccentrics and the rods, once they're assembled, should all mount to a pin there, and obviously the dummy eccentric here on the dummy axle. So there's two ready to go. I'll probably actually mount them and check them, and then I'll get to the machining. So there's quite a bit of machining. These are quite robust, shall we call them, at the moment, but there's some thinning off and that. And again, they're all on the drawings on the table. So there's them two sets there, and then I've just magically arranged two more sets there to be done as well. I did paint the other two sets, but never mind. The valve rods, again, same thing. Bring these out. Hopefully you can see these all okay. You can probably see like the silver lining around them where I've been silver soldering. And there, the same these ends. So you basically just silver solder on the material you need to give you the fork end. And I say they all come in from Model Engineer's laser. You're not sponsoring or anything. They're just a really useful, helpful. I think it's Edward. I can't remember now. They're just a really helpful bunch. They're just, you know, I need these parts. You can go on the website. It's really, really useful. And I do order quite a bit of stuff from them, so that's really good. So yeah, so there's these to do. The eccentric rods to do 4 of. And then that should bring us, sorry, that's just temporary. There's that one there, and I don't know whether the other one's gone temporary. There we go. There's the other one that came with her. And there's a little bit out, it isn't too bad. But it gives you an idea what the ends will look like. And tidy them up with a file after some machining. But yeah, at the moment, the main job is inside motion, checking for clearances especially, and getting to this point with this bracket where these two bearing points are. And again, we've just been through those. What I might do is put a bit of rod through just so you can see some of the angles. They should, yeah, they need to mount to here, and you should be able to put a bar through, and they all be the same height, and it's dead straight, and it should turn and all that kind of thing. So it should align. And then basically off this, when the proper rod's in, you'll have a lever down, the bearing through here, and then drop down again. And then that brings you to your valve inlet here, and there's some, again, that's by magic Model Engineer's laser, you just order it straight off. All the machining to do, but one of these will sit, just make sure the ends are together so they're the same length. Will sit on there and then attach to the valve spindle itself, which is in a box somewhere. think last time we talked about Manor, we talked about the sort of the steam exit gallery. I can't remember the name of it now. But yeah, so they're both sort of temporarily mounted, just putting on each end. Just one, because it stops the cylinders floating around and getting in the way, and two, makes you feel like you're getting somewhere. So yeah, so that's Manor at the moment. Progress is good. I say, silver soldering, I haven't done silver soldering for years and years, and it's been good to sort of have another practice at it. But yeah, so that's progress in the Manor for now. She's coming on, just a little bit, tick at a time, getting up quite well with the milling machine as well. Getting a fair bit done with that these days. Busy times. I've also done a fair bit, as I said, I did a little bit of running. I had a day out with the 9F. She ran really well after the winter sort of wrap up and shut down for a bit. I've got plans to go out and do some very interesting running at a place, and I can't wait for that. It's going to be fantastic. Hopefully 9F's first real test in anger, I guess, beyond sort of test running at the club. So hopefully all that goes well and I'll get a bit of footage for that, although probably plenty of footage will come out. But yeah, overall, pretty happy. It's been very cold and miserable, so it's been tough trying to motivate yourself to get out here and do bits. So I spent a fair bit of time going through the drawings. Video before, there's loads of drawings to look at. There's the full set of Torquay manors, the full set of Penrose Grange, which form the manor I'm building here. I've also managed to acquire a copy through Blackgate's Engineering. Went out and spent, and we've got the drawings for the Les Warren 9F. So all the improvements I want to make to that are now I've got in drawing form in there. But I didn't want to get them all out because it's like a whole new set, and I want to concentrate on making progress with the manor. The main thing, really, as I say, is figuring this out. This boiler bracket. Now that's fine. I've sort of measured that up. Happy with that. It's within spec, shall we call it. These things, not so great, but at the end of the day, it's not the absolute end of the world, even if I had to make new ones. I think that one's not too bad. Sort of, that's how it should go. Look. Yeah, don't worry about that lever arm, it's going. So that one seems not too bad. But I think one of them, you can see it's all over the place. It's the right hand one. I think it's this one. And it just sits at a very awkward angle. Kind of weird to sort of figure that out. But you can probably see that line's relatively straight. But as you can see, that rod isn't. So I'm going to try and recover them. Might be a new piece job. What you don't want to do is get all the inside motion work done, making all these jigs for all those components, and then basically get somewhere and it's like, that, and they're trying to wobble around and just creates nightmares. So that'll be the next sort of job. I've got a few other things in the pipeline. I'll probably go back to the desk and we'll talk about those as well. But yeah, there we go. So there we are. Relatively short, sharp update. Probably package this one up as Manor Part 3, really, because that's kind of what I've mainly been doing. The bit of time I have spent out here. There has been another job as well, mainly this one. So I'll probably save that for another video. But yeah, it's December, I think December, January, from the last video time I put something out. I've just been ill. I've just been colds and flus. We all have. So getting out here in the pouring rain, got a nice setup. It's not too bad out here, but it does get cold if you leave it too long. But now the nicer weather's come, and there was a nice weekend not so long ago, and I spent the entire weekend, luckily for me, doing some work onto this thing, the old 9F. So this year is really getting her out, trying to get her some mileages on, progress the manor. Also got another little visitor. We'll talk more about that in its own video, hopefully, and just carrying on doing what we enjoy doing. Model engineering, making things, learning lathes, milling machine, a lot of filing. Let's face it, we all do a lot of filing. Yeah, on the machine front, my wife's been out for my birthday, and I've got a bit of a new toy, so I'm going to practice with that. It's a GoPro. I've got some mounts around the workshop, and I'd like to show some machining work. And again, there's a little side project in the background I've been doing some machining work on with a friend of mine. I might put that up later. Probably not part of this video. We'll stick this to Manor for now. I'll update on the 9F probably soon. As I say, I'm sorry the videos haven't been coming as much as I'd like them to be. At the moment, I think it's going to be once a month, and I'll try and get some bits of footage and put it up in between if I can. But it's just the way the world is at the moment, so we'll go for that. So yeah, thank you very much to everyone who subscribed. So a quick channel update, really. 557 subscribers, which is fantastic. I thank you ever so much to all of you who've sort of commented, liked, shared, and subscribed. Really appreciate it. Please do, if you've got friends into this kind of thing, or maybe they're just interested, or maybe they just need a little bit of a 20-minute break from the world. I know I do. That's kind of why I do it. Please share it around. Thank you to all those who already have, and we'll just keep going. Plenty more to show you, plenty in the pipeline. Yeah, really, really great stuff. So thank you ever so much, and we'll talk to you all again a lot sooner than last time, hopefully. All right, cheers now. Thank you.